MasterClass show, where 6 and 7-figure CEOs build their purpose-driven legacy businesses through proven branding, marketing, and sales strategies so that they don't have to sacrifice their income and happiness for their mission. Thanks for watching the Life School Masterclass show. Join our Facebook group community of badass mission-driven entrepreneurs, and come back next week same place and time for our upcoming show.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Life School Masterclass show. I am here with you again on another beautiful Friday with another beautiful guest, and we are talking about simplifying your life as a busy woman entrepreneur so that you can do less and live more with my beautiful guest, Lissa Figgins. It's such an honor to have my guest here today. And before I introduce her with you guys, I am your host, Alona Lepari. I am a business strategist, and I help purpose-driven CEOs grow to 6 and 7 figures through branding, marketing, sales, and also team building, so they don't have to sacrifice their income and happiness for their mission. Lissa, thank you so much for being part of our show today. I'm so excited to have you here and also have you share lots of great stuff according to the topic that we're speaking about today.
Yeah, I'm so excited. You and I have been talking about this for months. So it's so fun that this day is finally here and everyone else gets to just listen into our conversation.
Yes, absolutely. So it's definitely going to be amazing. I'm so sure. And I'm so sure, as I said at the beginning, I have a lot to learn from you as well, because the busier we get as entrepreneurs, the more we grow our businesses to the levels that we want them so that we can really build those legacy businesses that make an impact. The more we need to learn how to really simplify and do less so that we get more fulfillment out of what we are doing, so that we can make a bigger impact, because we're not robots, right? So we need to really understand how to do that. So Lissa, let's start with an introduction. Tell us a little bit more about who you are and how did you get started into what you're doing today?
Well, it's so interesting because don't you find that oftentimes how we help others comes out of our own journey? Right? It's usually the mistakes we made, the things that we didn't do the way that we should have, could have, or wanted to, that turns into the way that we serve others. So I was that girl who, I was a high achiever in high school and all of that. But when I got into the mom stage of life, I really was just on survival mode. I didn't have dreams. I didn't have visions. I didn't have goals. My life was literally just, how do I get everybody up, fed, bathed to where they need to be, back home and then in bed to do it all over again. And really, it was just, I was living by default, and I really wasn't thinking about where I was going beyond the 24 hours in front of me and the 4 walls that were around me. And so it wasn't until I had a couple of wake-up calls that I started making some changes in my life. And the first one was a cancer scare. And so that really woke me up to my own health and wellness, and just started asking questions and thinking about how I was taking care of myself, and not just how I was taking care of my family and everyone else around me. Right. And how often do we as women, we do that. And what happens to us? We go in the back burner. So I started, really getting intentional in that area. And then I turned 40. And I don't know about you, but sometimes there are those birthdays, those anniversaries, those life happenings, good, bad, or just one day you wake up and you just go, who am I? Right? You look in the mirror and you're like, who am I? And I noticed a few more wrinkles around there and a little bit more pudge around the belly. And I was like, okay. But more than that, it was like, but who am I? And how did I get here? And where am I going? And so I really just kind of felt this, like, God stirring my heart that, there is something I'm called to do beyond the 4 walls around me and the 24 hours in front of me. And, and I needed to start growing me and start serving others in a bigger way. And so what that led to, it was me going back to my achievement from high school, right? Me going back into okay, I'm going to do. And it was literally like that hustle, hustle harder, do more, and it all with good intention, right? All with a good heart, all with, I want to grow a business. I want to serve people. I want to make a difference. I want to, all those things. And yet I was exhausted. I was overwhelmed. I was frustrated. I was kept hitting my head up against that glass ceiling, like I kept coming up to that same place. It was like I couldn't break through that. And I just looked around and I was like, yeah, this is not the life that I'm trying to build, and this is not where I want to stay, but I don't really know how to fix this unless my solution was just doing more, honestly.
Mm. Well, I can relate to so much, what you said with being a woman and leaving ourselves last, and how we actually, out of our, hardest moments or challenges that we have encountered, here we are. Now we want to give back and help someone else. That's a couple of steps in that journey, because now we've learned maybe a way to manage it, or we have that experience. So we now actually have to do that. So it's so beautiful that you said that. And yeah, I could so relate to high achiever all my life. I was also very praised on that from my father specifically. So I thought that's really how to do anything, unless, until I figured out that I had anxiety and all of that stuff that comes with
Mhm.
that. And it came from the need to always be enough, enough, enough. But that was never enough, because you can never be enough. So
Right.
going into that journey is really, I think, is so important, based on what you said, to really look through behind, why is it that we're doing what we're doing, and how is it that we can, figure out all these ways about us that, clarify that intention of why we're doing something, so that it comes from a
Right.
better place, rather than
In
like
in all of that, I think we lose
mastering.
ourselves, right? Like, I think
Mhm.
we lose who we are in all the doing and the achieving and, the striving and the hustle and the hurry and all that it's just, I know for me, I was a shell on the outside, and I would show up places, but I remember kind of feeling like, but my heart's not fully here, because I was so scattered, and it was so, it was just like, what's the next place I need to be? And what's the next thing I need to do? And okay, I'm here. Right. And not really being fully present and bringing my whole self to that. And part of that was because I wasn't really in touch and in tune with who I was either, because I was just always going. I wasn't taking time to stop and to pause and to do less.
Absolutely. And being a woman entrepreneur, and I know, that is the clients that you help and the people that you help. So why do you feel like this is so important for them to really, figure out ways to simplify and live more, so that they can get that fulfillment and enjoyment out of the building of their business, while they're juggling all these other areas all at the same time?
Yeah, I think number one, because that hustle, hurry, grind, strive, mentality is not what most people want. Most people, that's not the kind of life. When you sit down and you think about, how do I want my life to feel? Those words do not come up. In fact, it's really interesting. Watch commercials and notice they don't show, usually, like, say for example, it's a product of somebody, it's some, I don't know, it's a car, right? Most of the time, those car commercials are not in the hustle and bustle traffic of downtown New York City, right? It's them on this wide open road, and there's a beach next to them, or a mountain, and and like, and so it's so interesting that that dream that we have, that life that we're working towards, is usually not the one that we're currently living. So number one, I don't think that this is where women truly want to be and stay, and that how they want their life to feel. And number two, if you keep going at that pace and at that level, and with all of that, you will crash, right? I mean, you will. It's like it's like that girl who's juggling all the balls at the circus, right? And eventually, somebody else throws another ball in, and here comes another ball, and it's just like you can only keep up with those balls for so long, and then eventually you drop one, you drop two, you drop three, and then you are in a heap on the floor yourself, just out of pure exhaustion of trying to keep up with juggling all the things. And so, and then at that point, I know our heart, especially as women, is to serve and to give. And so I really, at that point, you're not going to be good to anybody, including yourself, right? And so it's really that, okay, I need to be preventative. And if I'm looking towards longevity, if I'm looking towards the legacy type of life that I want to create, I want to make sure that I have the energy and the health and the vitality and everything else to be able to enjoy it, and not be crashing emotionally, physically, spiritually, all those things.
Yeah, no, it's so important to really enjoy the process and really settle these parameters around us, so that, we stay aware out of all these things that are causing us to go into burnout and overwhelm and all of that, which I've been through it all, and I continuously, purposely try to stay grounded, because it's so easy to just get carried away, because we're just pulled in so many directions a lot of times. And being women entrepreneurs, I know that that's something we always struggle with as well. And a lot of times, even when we need to hire and delegate, it's like, oh my gosh, we have to be really in a lot of pain, so that we can really be like, okay, I might need some help with this. So I'm looking forward to see, and hear more over how you personally help your clients, and what is it that we can do so that we can simplify the things that we're doing, so that we can do less.
I think the first thing is to give yourself permission to do less. I think a lot of times it's our own expectations we have of ourselves, that I have to keep performing, or I have to keep striving, or I have to keep going or doing at this level. And if I don't, I'm not going to be able to build what it is that I want to build. And yet sometimes it reminds me of that fly on the window, right? That keeps flapping its wings harder, and it will never get to the other side of that window and the freedom that's on the outside if it just keeps flapping its wings harder and hitting its head against that window. What does that fly need to do? That fly needs to back up, right? And then look for an opening, right? Maybe there's a window that's open. Maybe there's a door that's open. Maybe there's a crack somewhere, right? But continuing to flap the wings and hit the head and do is not going to get that fly to the life that they want on the other side. And so I think it's, number one, giving ourselves permission that I don't have to keep doing, right? And that is not the way to get to where I want to be. Because if we do a lot, but they're not the right things, or not the best things, then we're just going to be spending a lot of energy, right? And be like that fly on the window. And so when I talk with clients, we talk about 3 words. We talk about clarity, we talk about simplicity, and we talk about intentionality. So clarity, and I love that you talk about the word this as well, is clarity is always around what your purpose is, and really knowing what is my purpose and what is it that, big scheme of things that I am here on earth to do. And I just was having this conversation with some women this morning, that our purpose always involves our growth, which is the filling up of our cup, and then our service, which is the pouring out. And how often do we, as women, as moms, as entrepreneurs, right, doing all the things, we try to pour from an empty cup? And so really getting clarity around, like, my purpose is not just, being a great mom. It's not just having an amazing business that's 6 and 7 figures. Those are all part of my vision, right, of what this is going to look like. But my purpose is to always be growing and filling up my cup, and then overflowing that into the lives of other people. And so when we get clarity around those things, it's really important. I like to say it's oftentimes like if you're going to go take, a road trip, before you get on the road, you are going to know where it is that you're going, right? Because if you just jump in the car and start driving, who knows where you're going to end up, right? Every detour that comes up, every, traffic jam, every little tourist trap sign that pops itself up on the side of the road is going to distract you, and you're not going to be accomplishing your purpose for being on that. So the first step is always clarity around your purpose, why you're here, which involves how you're growing and how you're serving and pouring out. And then the second step is that simplicity, right? So now that you know that, and then you start creating this vision. Okay, so maybe the way that I serve is through being a mom. Maybe it is through serving in my community. Maybe it is through having a 6 or 7 figure business and serving clients and helping people in this way. And so then when you really have clarity around your vision and how you see that fleshing out, now you can start to simplify. Because if we look around at our lives, oftentimes there are a lot of things that we're allowing in our lives that are not serving us and not moving us towards our goals. Right. And it can be, sometimes it's the stuff around us. Like, it can just literally be things that are around your desk, if you spend a lot of time in your office, or, in your kitchen, or, on the counter, or whatever. Just stuff around us clutters up not only our time, our money, our energy, our focus. We get distracted by those things. Our screens clutter our lives, right? We have this thing that follows us around 24/7 pretty much, and it always has stuff coming in. Statistically, listen to this. The average person interacts with their phone 2,617 times a day.
Oh my gosh.
That is crazy. And even if you're not average, even if you were like a fourth of that, right? That's still a lot of distraction. That's still a lot of energy and time that's being sucked into something else. And probably most of it is not moving you towards your purpose, right? And helping you live that out. And then we look at our schedules and all the commitments that we make and all the things that we allow in and all the people that we allow to dictate our schedules and you know, and the mindless ways that sometimes we spend our time. And so it's no wonder that I think oftentimes we feel like I don't have time, I don't have energy, I don't have money. You know, I hear women say all the time, I can't put one more thing on my plate. I can't fit one more thing on there. And it's probably true, we can't. But the thing of it is that everything that's in your life, whether it's in your stuff, from your screen or from your schedule or something else, is something that you have either intentionally brought into your life or you've allowed someone else to bring into your life and you've allowed it to stay there. So the good news is that means you can start getting rid of the clutter. Like think about that closet. Like I've got this closet right here in my office that needs to be cleaned out. And I just close the door and pretend like it's not, you know, it's not there. But how good it feels when you clean things out, right? And you declutter, you know, and you get rid of all the stuff like in your closet that you're not wearing anymore, right? Or that doesn't, you know, doesn't go with, you know, with the image that you're creating with how you dress or is broken or whatever, right? When you get rid of that stuff, it's like, it feels so much lighter, right? There's less time and energy going to maintaining all the stuff that was there. And you now just created space to breathe and space to be able to like not feel like there's always something on top of you, and space for the things that you want to grow and maybe for something new that's going to be exactly what you need, but there wasn't space for it before. Does that make sense? Like, so you're simplifying around like, now that I know what matters most, like what things am I going to allow into my life and what things am I going to let stay here because they're going to help me move towards that versus just suck up the time and energy.
No, that's beautiful. And I love that you said as far as the first purpose of filling yourself up, I don't think we ever think of that. It's always like the business, that is like the purpose, or like the life that we're trying to create with running the business, right? So I think that was really profound. That was really beautiful. And
well, here's the way to think about it. If you can see it in your head, it's not a purpose, it's a vision. Okay. So and those are those roles and that vision changes. You know, I mean, think about like if your purpose is you know, to be a mom and you've got little kids who are at home, right? Eventually they grow up and they move out of the house. So now you have no purpose. Now they left the house. I think a lot of women go through that struggle, right? Where the kids leave the house and they're like, now what, right? Or you stop working for somebody else and that because that was your sole purpose. But if your purpose is even deeper than that, right? And that's what fuels you. This is what gives you the fuel to do those things that are part of your vision, the leading the business, the being a mom, the serving in your community, whatever those things are. Then yeah, my role as a mom looks different. We're about to but we're about to send our youngest off to college. And so we're going to have an empty nest. My role as a mom looks different, right? My role I used to be a teacher in a classroom and now I'm, you know, working with women online. So yeah, that looks different, but that didn't change my purpose. It just changed the vision of what me fleshing out my purpose looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely beautiful. And it's so important because I feel like in different seasons and stages of life, we're focusing on different things. And I think our purpose adapts and changes and, you know, you get more clear and all of that along the way. But it is important to have that clarity. And I do that all the time with strategizing on business. And it's so many things that we uncover. Sometimes it's just like old habits, you know, that we are not realizing unconsciously, you know, how those are actually affecting us in the progress that we want to make. So I love
so there's a way to simplify, right? Take those thoughts, take those habits, take those beliefs that aren't serving you anymore and get rid of them. You know, create space for the ones that are going to move you towards what it is that you want. And when we talk about our life too, I really like to make sure that we're looking at ourselves as a whole person. Because it's very easy to have purpose and vision and goals for our business. It's very easy to have purpose, vision, and goals for like our health, right? But like, how often do we really think about what does my vision look like for my faith or for my family relationships or my friendships? Finance is another one that a lot of people set goals in because it's a little bit more tangible and measurable. But what about fun, right? And enjoying life. And so when I work with women, when we're simplifying life, we look at 7 different areas. So that we can say, I want to make sure I've got balance because if all my focus is towards my business, these other areas, I didn't have time for fun. That was me. I was too busy doing. Who has time for fun, right? And so I had to learn how to bring fun back in. And then I can see how it impacts the business side of things, which has really been cool. By me doing less and unplugging and having little everyday fun, more bucket list fun, those types of things, it's actually fueling, me more, so that when I'm doing my business stuff, I'm so much more effective, right? And I'm getting so much better results. And then the last word, which I didn't mention yet, was intentionality, right? Like we can have a great idea and then dream and things like that that's up there, but it really has to come down to, okay, and so how is this going to flesh out in my everyday life, right? And what are the action steps that I'm going to take? They're going to keep me on this path, so that, because it's so easy with, again, technology and people all around us and culture, to get drawn right back into that do more mentality, right? To get drawn right back into those things that are sucking our energy and our time and our money. So it's okay, what am I intentionally doing? And how, where am I putting, like, what environments am I putting myself in, so I can stay focused on that and not get distracted by all the things around me. And I truly believe that also includes accountability, and also involves, coaching, because I was the girl who DIY'd it for a long time, and I had some success, but not like, when you get other people around you and you start, declaring your intentions and really having someone else hold you accountable to what you say you want to do and why you say this matters to you. And you get somebody else who's a coach like you, who, is further down the road, who can show you where to put your focus, right? And not how to kind of, like, not necessarily shortcut it, like you're not doing the work, but how to shorten the learning curve and not waste a lot of time doing the things that aren't really going to matter.
Mm-hmm. Well, intention is so powerful, and clarity is so powerful with whatever is it that we are doing, because then we have a roadmap, somewhere to go, some sort of direction of what we're trying to do. And I love that you said that with, well, I don't love that it's so high, but I think when we are growing our businesses on pretty much our phones, right, a social media, it's so easy to get sucked in. So I think the activities that we have to participate have to be the habits, because it's all habits also, the way that we're using all these different platforms, and the way that we are going about our routine, because our business is all here, right? So in many times I could hear someone be like, but then how am I going to grow the business? Like, they need me, and I have a client, like someone's messaging me and all of that. So putting strict boundaries and discipline around the times and all of that is so crucial. I still have not, I try so much. I put my phone away, but I feel like, we're getting wired, we're getting habitual things, and it's like, oh, I need to go reach for it, just one more minute, and then you find yourself like an hour on there, so much energy. So it is so true. You have to be very intentional in what we're doing and respect the boundaries and the times that we're setting for things, because then it's like there's no end to anything. You just kind of recklessly using your time and wasting all that energy, which you could be putting back to your health, to yourself, to your spiritual practice. I love that you said spirituality. I think that's a very important part of, life. And I love that you take this holistic approach, because at the end of the day, it is true. Everything trickles down to other areas. But it all has to start with us being centered, clear, purposeful. And this takes someone to help us along that journey, because I'm telling you, every time I think I'm good, I'm clear, like something else happening is like throwing me off. I'm like, oh my gosh, you need someone like yourself to hold you to it. So then you have someone. I honestly think coaching is so valuable, besides all the negative things, in the industry. You need a coach for every area of your life, because we need to constantly, especially if we are always in growth, and that is the ultimate purpose. And I love that you said that, always growing, evolving, whether it's the business you've chosen or the parenting, because we all grow in all these different areas. It's not just like one area, one-sided. We all need to constantly have someone at our, to support us with all these different areas, so that we have that support and we stay centered. I think it's really important. So I'm so glad that you shared all of that, Lissa. I love everything you shared. Thank you so much for everything that you have shared with us. I try to keep the interview within a good amount of time, so we are intentional and we are giving amazing information, while also making sure that people have that attention span to really grasp the best of the information, and most importantly, apply it, right? Because who needs more content and more information? It's
right.
That's another thing that we have to be very intentional with, right? So I thank you for everything you shared with us so far. And I usually at the end, I ask my guests, What do you feel is your purpose with the work that you are doing? What do you feel is your mission?
I love that. I love that. So my purpose is to continue growing myself so that I can pour into others. And specifically the way that I know that I'm called to do that is to help that busy womanpreneur who's buried, maybe scattered or distracted by all the things, to simplify her life and business around what matters most so she can do less and live more and enjoy it.
Absolutely beautiful mission and beautiful purpose. Thank you so much, Lissa, again. And I would also ask you, where is it that our audience can connect with you and find out more about all the amazing work that you're doing and all your teachings?
Sure. Well, I'm Lissa Figgins on any platform, so you're welcome to find me there. And I do have a group called the Simplified Life Club, where we share a lot of tips and resources and strategies and mindset to live a simplified life, so that we can actually start fleshing out this do less, live more. And we do it inside community. So I welcome you to find us over on Facebook and join us. And when you do, you're going to get my free do less, live more checklist as a gift to you.
Absolutely. I invite all the women entrepreneurs listening to join your amazing community there and learn more over this area. And just when we think we have it figured out, there's always something else to learn. So, thank you so much for doing this work and for everything that you have shared with us on our interview today. We've actually reached the end. And to my beautiful audience, I want to remind you that I'm running a 90-day live training on April 29 at 2 p.m. Eastern on how to create warm, consistent leads in your business so that you have that consistency and income that you are looking for. All the details will be included on the bottom of this interview. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your Friday. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.